let's go ahead. And while it's kind of in the middle of the list, I'm going to go ahead and start number one with the on-screen text typing. This is one nice new feature for working with text. When this option is turned on, you'll select the text tool, click on the screen, and start typing. No more going to your properties box to type in the content. Of course, we didn't just take that ability away from you. If you want to continue to do it the old way, you're more than welcome to. Now, to utilize the on-screen text input feature, you simply do the following. You go under Tools and General Options. You go under View and simply select On-Screen Text Typing. Tools, General Options, View, On-Screen Text Typing. Click OK. Let's go ahead and bring up a new page. Click your text tool, click in the text box, and start typing. I love Floriani. Okay, give it your size, click apply, and the text is done. On-screen text typing. I just think that was an amazing, absolutely amazing new feature that's been added. Let's move on and we'll talk about the auto window scroll. This is for digitizing. I'm going to go ahead and close because by the time I'm done, I'm going to have so many pages open. Let's say we go ahead and bring up a design to digitize. Of course, when I first bring it up, I size it. Going to apply it. Then let's say I zoom in. So we zoom into the design. Let's fill in the page. Let's say I'm going to digitize up here. So I'm traditionally digitizing, grabbing my classic satin stitch. You'll notice now, as I digitize, the screen automatically moves with me. Come down here, start to digitize, and it auto pads. Just a second, I got a little sound in the background I had to turn off. I figured it out. My apologies for that if you heard it. So, same thing right here. If I start digitizing down here now, I start to move, and the screen starts to auto pan right down. I love that feature. I digitize on a set zoom scale. When I digitize, it fills the screen. I use the pan feature a lot. The auto window scroll is absolutely amazing. And again, to get to auto window scroll, same thing. Tools, General Options, go under View, and just set it to the auto backdrop panning. Auto backdrop panning. I'm sorry if I didn't explain that right in the beginning. And then the final new addition that we still do under Tools and General Options are the crosshair lines. So I will click on Show Crosshair in input mode, and I love this feature, and I really do. And I'm going to go ahead and what I love about this is when I'm just kind of free-form digitizing, and let's say I'm making a fill box. Now when I digitize, you see how I have the crosshairs up there? Folks, that's amazing, because now if I want to make an absolute straight fill, look at that. Absolute straight lines. Just right there in front of you. I can align right there. Boom, and I'm done. Perfectly square. The crosshair lines. This is one of those features that many of you will ask how you ever lived with it without after using it for a little while. Look, it's so helpful for digitizing objects that need to be on the same plane, vertically or horizontally. It's faster than using the guidelines for certain features. What this feature does, it displays that dotted vertical line like you see right there on the screen, and horizontal comes directly off the cursor. By default, again, it's turned off. To turn it on again, Tools, General Options, in the View box, just select Show Your Crosshairs in the input mode. Okay, let's continue to move right on. And the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is, of course, in the File and Save As box. If you weren't aware, we have now opened up the major quilting formats. They're down here at the bottom. You've got your QCC, your CQP, HQF, SSD, TXT, and IQP. Again, the DXF and IQP are new to this update. We're very, very excited about that. We're doing a lot of advancement in the quilting direction. There's certainly more to come. Okay, creating an outline. This is a very exciting feature. The create a new outline. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a design. This is a very good design to kind of do this with. I'll just shrink it down a little bit. It creates an outline or a series of outlines around selected objects It offsets the lines or insets the lines by a user-defined amount. You'll know what to do with those lines. You go crazy with them. Look, here's an example. You select, Control A selects the entire design. At this point in time, right click, and you'll now see Create Outline. When you get Create Outline, it brings up, it says the distance of the outlines. Let's go ahead and tell it 5 millimeters. And you know what? I'm going to do, let's just call it 6 or 7 lines. We'll do 7 lines. Let's put in 17, excuse me. 7 lines. I'm going to click Unite Outlines, and I'm going to click OK. And so you'll see very soonly my outlines are created. It'll take just a second. And there's my outlines. Now, if I come over to the sequence view and I open it up, you'll see that these outlines, they're artwork. I'm going to select the artwork. At this point in time, I'm going to right click and I'm going to break it apart. And there's a reason for this. So I'm going to break apart. I'm going to select it one more time. Okay? I'm going to right click. I'm going to select them all. I'm going to right click and I'm now going to say convert to a run stitch. Okay? So now I have the outlines around there, but because I broke them apart, I can now come in and I can select individual lines. Oops, excuse me. I can select individual lines. Let me come down here and do it like this. The sequence view. So I can select that first run stitch line. And I can I can come over. It's a standard run stitch. But I can now say apply a motif to that. Come down here and I can grab a motif, apply it, and I have motif on that outline. I can grab the inner line. Again, I can say apply motifs to it, and I can apply those motifs to that. It is just crazy what you can do with this. I really, really like this feature of create the outlines. It makes it just again expands on the creativity side of the software so much. I really like that create outline feature. I really, really like that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. Just 1 second. Wave fill pattern. This is also very, very cool. Let me go ahead and close this. Open up a new page. The wave fill pattern, simply I utilize it. Complex fill, you make any shape of a fill stitch. Select the fill. Come over now standard and just say you want the new wave pattern. Click apply. And there's your wave pattern. Now, that's not all. First of all, it's done with a density, you'll see it of 2. If you want to make it a full fill, you'll set the density to a 0.4. But get this, in the editing feature, I've done an initial select, go down to the third icon, shape. Now you have your shape tools. I can curve it up this way. I can curve this one down this way by pulling that point. I can come into the center. I've got my Bezier curve, right click, and I can alter the wave effect. Again, wanted to make it a full fill, just come in, set the density to 0.4 over here in the properties box. Click apply. You'll have a full density fill very quickly. And there's your full density fill. Really looks cool. Really looks cool. I love that wave structure. And total editing. If you want to just bow it, you can just come in, create the bow, pull this one down like this. Oops, excuse me. Pull this one down. Boom. The shapes, I mean, you're pretty much endless with this. I absolutely love this. I love the wave fill pattern. I love everything in this update. I mean, our updates have been magnificent over time, but this update has so many features. I swear, I've been studying it for I've been on the road for almost 6 weeks. I've been studying it for the last week, and there's still functions that I'm learning and teaching myself. Okay, save to sew. Let me show you this with this. Let's go ahead and bring up another design. I'm sorry, I should add something already up there. Bring up the design. Let me go ahead and ungroup it. We'll run it through Save to Sew. When you run through Save to Sew now, pick your material certainly. Apply and yes. Of course, the next step, it's always going to tell you how to stabilize. That's always been fully printable. But now watch up in the Properties box when I hit Finish. Boom! Up in the Notes of the Properties box. So now your stabilization is right there. And get this, folks. Click on your Print Preview feature. When you click on the Print Preview feature, now realize the only thing you have to change is go into Settings and make sure that the header is checked. Once that header is checked, those notes now transpond down to the bottom of the first page. I think that is just absolutely amazing. A total advancement in Save to Sew. Before Save to Sew, no notes. Go into Save to Sew, the notes are there. I think that's amazing. I really think that's an amazing feature. Auto split satin stitches. Look, to make it easier as you digitize wide satin stitches, we've added this new auto split feature. When you reach a specified satin stitch with default, 7 millimeters is the default, a split will automatically be applied to a satin stitch. So if I come in and I make a satin stitch, that satin stitch is, let's come in here, we'll make a nice wide satin stitch. I can select it. I can go into the column area. Oops, excuse me, put the wrong thing right here. And I can say split the satin stitch randomly, okay? Now when I pick randomly on there and I make it look 3D, I got to take it down in size. It'll split the stitches in a random mode. I'll use that to create kind of a hair effect with the design, but you know what? You'll see it best. Let me go and change it to a different color, orange. Go into your column. You can also do it random, but you can do it by percent. And I can say, you know what? Right at 50%, drop that stitch. Now you see what it does? It drops the stitch right down the center of that satin stitch. You do have some wonderful options, okay? Again, go into your column settings. You can set it on a percent. You can set it on an absolute stitch length. You can do it randomly. Now, you also have controls for this under Tools and General Options, and I believe it's in the machine mode, and you can say auto split satin stitches longer than, and you have control of the stitch length there. So if you want to control the stitch length and make it 8 or 9, look, on certain materials, for wearable items, I really recommend that you keep that satin stitch split at about 7 millimeters. For non-wearable items, you can extend that amount to just under about 12 millimeters. You go much longer than 7 millimeters on a wearable item, it tends to pull in and you get big old loops when you're doing that. You don't want that to happen even when you auto split the design. Again, it defaults in the random mode, but it can be controlled by percentages. Just right there, and it really does create some really very unique effects. That random split on the satin stitch, and you tell it go a little shorter stitch length, longer than the 7, because it's getting random at the split point. But if I went for a shorter stitch length that would be random without the satin, that's a wonderful effect for hair effects when you're doing animals and such. It really is. Now, another really great feature, let me pull up this design, is the design analysis, and I'm going to bring up this design right here. When you're done creating your designs now, you go under File and simply go under Design Analysis. Look, here's what's all included in this design analysis feature. Number 1, details. Number 2, colors. Number 3, the statistics. Number 4, the production aspects. Number 1, the detail tabs. Okay, it displays the file name, displays the design, dimensions, width and height. You can set it inches or metrically. It also will display the stitches information, the total number of stitches, the total number of colors, the total number of trims within that design. Okay, the colors tab. Click on the colors tab. It displays the colors used in the design listed in order. It includes the following for each color. It'll tell you the color number, the number of stitches for each color, the amount of thread that will be used for the color items in the design, the name of the color, and the color code name. Absolutely amazing. Okay, we'll move on to the statistics, the statistics tab. I'll go ahead and click on that. Shows a pie chart for the stitch length range in the design. Okay, simply shows you within each color the lengths of the stitches that you have in the percentages of such. And really then, the highlight of it is the production tab. Click on the production tab. It shows the estimated sew out time for the design based on the settings applied. Now, you'll see that this design, I've created one for my Tajima machine, okay? I'm running at about 800 stitches per minute. My trims take about 8 seconds. My color changes take about 13 seconds. Now, You want to add your machine. Look, this allows you to choose the machine you're going to sew the design on. By default, look, you've got a generic. The generic is the default. We have it set at 600 stitches per minute. Trim seconds 2, the color change seconds 4, okay? But you can go ahead and click add. And at this point in time, you can select and type in the name of your machine. So if you have multiple machines, you can type that in there. You can input the speed that you're running on. On my bigger machines, I run them a little faster. It depends on the work, okay? On my smaller machines, I tend to run them a little slower. So you input the speed you're going to set your machines on. You input the amount of time it takes the machine to do a trim. Look, to calculate this, you need to sew out a design that has a trim in it and simply time the amount of time it takes for the machine to execute a trim. Why mine was 8 seconds? This is the time from the moment the machine stopped sewing out the object before the trim, and for me it was the moment it started sewing the next object. That's how I went ahead and figured out under my Tajima where I put in that 8 seconds. And the same thing then with the color change. I stopped and set it from the time the machine stopped. The machine moved into the next needle position, and then the needle reinserted. The color change happened, the needle reinserted. It was about 13 seconds. Added all that in there, okay? Look, I want to talk a little bit more about this. You can also delete a selected machine. You can add machines. You have total control of this. But let me show you something here, okay? Let's go ahead and go out of that. First of all, I'm going to show the commands on here. And with the commands shown, you'll see that when I did the keyboard lettering, I have trims in between every letter here. Well, you know what? And again, under the design analysis, I should have just made this a little more clean here. Under the production, 15 minutes and 43 seconds. Look, for those of you who are doing this as a business, not necessarily for the hobbyists, although I think hobbyists like to have designs run as efficiently as possible, you can do things like this, okay? I can go ahead and I'm going to do a select on the lettering, all the lettering in the design, the keyboard lettering, okay? Then I'm going to come under command, and I'm going to tell the text that I want to trim. Right now it's in between characters. I simply want to trim in between lines of words and click apply. Once I do that, you'll see that the trims of now are just in between the words, okay, or in between the lines. It'll simply move down to here, finishes this line, moves down to here. But now look what happens when we go into the design analysis. We go into design analysis, we click on the production, 12 minutes and 5 seconds. I rolled off over 3 minutes on every one of those. Folks, those of you who are running an embroidery machine to make a living, that's another run per hour as that machine is running, okay? Realize you have an amazing amount of control of the commands in this software, where you trim, and why you trim. I hope I've made that clear enough. Now, you know what? If you do not have a multi-needle machine, are you out of luck with this feature? Not at all. Use a single needle machine, you can definitely use this feature. Does your single needle machine have the ability to trim, thread, and design? If yes, you need to know how long it takes to execute the trim. Input that time into the equation. If no, you need to know how long it takes you to trim manually, and then add that time into the equation. You need to also time yourself manually changing thread colors a few times to get an average time. Once you know an average time of how long it takes you to manually change the colors on the machine to add the value to the equation, you're done. This is going to help you calculate what it will take you to sew out the design on your single needle machine. I just think that's absolutely amazing. I really do. I think that was just an amazing addition to the software. Look, new compensation properties box and control. This is something that I truly am so excited about. I'm going to go ahead and make another fill. And I'll try to explain this as simply as I can. You know what? In fact, I'll go ahead and do this. On the left side, excuse me, I'm going to make a quick satin stitch. Let me just pick another color. On just the left side of this structure. And again, see how wonderful those crosshairs are for just getting perfectly straight when I'm kind of freehand digitizing. And on the right side, I'm going to do a running stitch, okay? So On the left side, satin stitch, right side, running stitch. We'll go ahead and make it look 3D. In fact, you know what? Let me go ahead and select that run, make it a different color, so maybe you can see it a little better. We'll make it orange. Okay, I really am super excited. Look, I can now click on the blue. Here's my point, and here's one of the controls that I really got, or that I'm really excited about. Those of you who've seen me teach classes, when you put a fill stitch next to a satin stitch, the fill stitch needs to overlap into that satin stitch 1 millimeter or more, okay? When you put a fill stitch next to that running stitch, the fill stitch needs to exceed that running stitch line 5/10 of a millimeter. Well, pull compensation in the past, okay, has always been both sides, one side, or the other side. We worked hard on this, and the programmers were finally able to figure it out. Now, this is a little bit more advanced, and this is something when you go through the compensation side of Save to Sew. In Save to Sew, I'm able to put one value. So we control the values to best suit both both options that may happen. But occasionally, if you have running stitches all on your run to Save to Sew, the compensation can be a little too much. This gives you absolute control, because you know what? I can say now, I want absolute control on the second side. Now, let me explain. First controls the right. Okay, so that's where my running stitch is. Put a fill stitch next to a running stitch. The fill stitch needs to exceed that 5/10 of a millimeter, so I put in the value of 5. The second side controls the left and the bottom. Okay, so if the fill is going left to right, so I want to work left to right. If the fill stitch was going up and down, I had my satin stitch up here, I had my running stitch on here, the values would change. Because again, first side is right and top, second side is left and bottom. So I'm telling it 5/10 of a millimeter, absolute pull control on the right. On the left, I want, let's call it 1 millimeter on the left. Now, I have the same kind of control now, and also my push box, okay? So I can come in and say I want absolute control on both first and second side. Because it's a fill, both sides would be the same. So in this case, I would choose both. But again, if I had a satin stitch on the one side, I would put a value of 0. If I had a running stitch, I'm going to pull the satin stitch away about 5/10. I'm not going to get into that too much. I want to go ahead and apply this and show you the difference, because now you'll see as I zoom into the right side and I grab the ruler, I've got total control. I've now put that out there. Excuse me, let me jump back to metric. I now have overlapped that right at 5/10 of a millimeter, right where you need to be. Okay, if I take it off the 3D, we can be absolutely articulate. And there's your 5/10 of a millimeter. Let me get on the line, I'm so sorry. We're right on it. Come on, Walt. We're right on our 5/10. We go to the left side, you put a fill stitch next to a satin stitch. The overlap needs to be 1. Go right to the control, and you're right on the 1. Folks, it's amazing. For pull and push compensation, you have now the ability to choose if you want to add the same value to each side, or to vary each side, up and down, left, right. Set it to the absolute. The percentage for me makes it a little bit too difficult. Set it to the absolute. You have the numbers. Those of you who've taken my classes, certainly there's videos out there that talk about that. We have worked, and I've personally really pushed for this for a long time. For me, this control right here was the missing link in the digitizing program, because it was always, what am I digitizing and what is it sitting next to? Okay, and if I'm next to this on one side and this on the other side, the values change. Fill stitch next to a satin stitch, the overlap is 1 millimeter. Fill stitch next to a fill stitch, it's 1 millimeter. Fill stitch, or excuse me, a satin next to a satin is 1 millimeter. Satin next to a run is 2 to 3/10. Fill next to a run is 5/10 of a millimeter. You have absolute control of this now from side to side. Does not matter what the element is sitting. If it's on one side, it's one. If it's on one side of another. With Floriani software now, once again, you have absolute and total control of those elements. I've shown you the on-screen text typing, the auto window. Look, we're going to talk about defining image horizons, a couple of other neat things. Let me go ahead and bring up a design. Now, look, we scanned a design, and I'm sorry I didn't have anything in here with just simple lettering, but certainly the design is crooked. What am I going to do? Rescan it in? No. Over here now on your backdrop tool, right below it, you now have a little arrow. Click on that arrow and you'll see define horizon. Now look, if I had lettering, it would be very simple because I would just go across the straight line of the lettering, but I'm going to go ahead and use the leaves here. Okay, I want it to be this direction, but straight. Boom, and there you go. The define horizon is amazing. I can't tell you how many times I've scanned an image in and it's just a little bit crooked. And again, with lettering or a straight line to the structure, it's just so darn simple. Once again, you just define the horizon and you tell it the direction that you want it to go. I want to make it crooked again or change it. I can change it just like that. I can go back to my design horizon and say, nope, I actually want you to be just like this, and there it comes straight. An amazing, amazing process. Now, the next one is the define scale, okay? Look, many times when you'll scan an image in, and even on this one, and I'm going to go ahead and change it to inches right now. The first thing when you bring a design in, I always tell people size the design. But this was scanned in on a piece of white paper. So when you see the width in inches, and I'll go ahead and grab the ruler and I measure this, there's my 2.11 image or inches. It's not seeing the design, it's seeing the white block sitting behind the design, okay? Well, you know what I'm concerned with is I'm concerned with the design that's on there. So you know what? I'm going to change the height. I want the height, let's say I want the height of the flower to be 4 inches. So you just come in now and once again, down below the backdrop tool, left click and say define the scale. I can now come in and I'm going to define where the top of this is, down to the bottom. Release, it's 2.8 inches. Okay, you can see in height over here it said 3.14 inches. I can say, you know what, I want that flower to be 4 inches. Tell it what size you want the design. Click OK. There you go. Now when you grab your ruler and you'll measure that, you'll see right at 4 inches. Okay, that's amazing. That, again, I think that design scale is amazing. How many times that I didn't even realize, because you know what? Lots of times when I digitize and I'll change the background color, I like to digitize on a white image. So I bring an image in like that. I didn't even know that blessed background was there. If you're on a white piece of paper, the best thing to do is change it over to light gray. You'll see the white paper. The first most important aspect of digitizing is setting the design size so that when you measure, you can determine the proper stitch type. So this allows you to set that image scale. And again, I think that is just absolutely an amazing aspect of it. Okay. Fading objects, and this is mostly for editing. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Oak Ridge now. Now look, a lot of times when I edit, especially like designs on background fills, coming over to the sequence view, if I click on the eyeball, okay, I can eliminate colors, okay. Let me go ahead and bring up the thing. Actually, I think I did this a couple times already. Let me go back. In fact, you know what? So now I'm going to select the fill. Okay, I've turned off the eyeball. Goes white. When I right click, no, I gotta back up a few times. Excuse me. I right click in the sequence view. I'm going to turn off the fade hidden, okay? This is what normally happens again. I'm sorry. I was playing with this right before we went online because this was one of the newest features. So when you normally click on the eyeball, it completely takes out the color, okay? But a lot of times if I'm moving lettering or such, while I want that background to be out of there, I would like to see where it is aligned. So now what you can do is come over to the sequence view, right click, and just click on Fade Hidden. And when I do that, it brings it up on the screen white. It's very subtle, but now I can come in here and I can do my editing to the lettering and such much, much easier, okay? So it allows you to edit, to move, but you still have the faded image behind you, I think again for editing, it's absolutely amazing. And again, if I confuse you all a little bit, I'm sorry. I'll turn it back on. I'm going to right click and turn off the fade hidden. So this is again what it normally looks like. Click on the eyeball, it disappears. Doesn't make it real edit easy. Right click and again just click on fade hidden. Up comes a fill stitch again, but in a very, very subtle color. I think that is absolutely wonderful. Look, you have some wonderful alignment tools. These are some new keyboard shortcuts. We've added some new shortcuts to the update. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to show you one that I specifically like, especially like for lettering or stuff. You want to align left, you'll just hit shift and the left arrow key. I'm going to cover this more in more detail and show you where you can get the information also. If you want to align to the top of the design, shift and the top arrow key. Want to align to the bottom, shift and the bottom arrow key. Align to the right, shift and the right arrow key. But get this, I want to align center. So you know what? I digitized a little design here earlier. 2 circles, okay? Both fill stitches. But you know what? Here's a really interesting thing that you can do. I want to select that second fill. Now, you're all aware that we have a wonderful blend feature, but here's kind of a nice technique that you can use simply by selecting the second one. Then I'm going to come over and I'm going to say, look, let's go ahead and apply the wave pattern to it. Click apply, okay? Now, I want to put that wave pattern on top of this, and certainly I can move it, but you know what else I can do? I can do a select, Control A, it selects it all, and then I can hit Shift C, and it aligns it perfectly on top, and you now have created kind of a really neat blend. Now, you know what else though? I'm going to go ahead and back that off. They're again both selected because we've given you a wonderful little shortcut. Okay, once they're both selected, this new icon over here is your center align icon. So if you want to center align the design, you don't have to even hit Shift and C. Okay, you can just hit the align center, boom, and there it is. And you can really create some really neat stuff. I use the artwork tool to create those circles. I can put a second one up there. I can vary again the shape of that wave fill. So you got a really nice, some really nice keyboard shortcuts. Certainly now under File and Save As, we now support PES version 9 and PE8 version 9 multi-needle. Okay, you can insert objects before or after. I'm going to move through some of this stuff, and I'm going to tell you where you can find this in just a few minutes, folks, because I'm going to start running out of time here. You can display distance between digitizing points. This I really like. Okay. When I now select my classic satin, excuse me, first I have to go under, Tools, once again, General Options, and again you go under View, and just show Tooltip in input mode. So I've selected, basically, I come under View, my highlight selection, I show my properties tabs as icons. That changed up here. That was in the last update. My auto backdrop panning, I do love the on-screen text typing. I'm going to show the tooltip in the input mode now, and I'm going to show the crosshairs. I select them all, okay, and that's how I'm now digitizing. But now, as I start to utilize my classic satin, you're going to see the width of the stitch. And again, sorry, I work metrically. So now I see my metric width. I limit it to about 7 millimeters, so I know right where I'm at. Okay, but now as I move down, you'll see the length. Now as soon as I click on this, I'm going to get both length and width. Okay, it's a very articulate tool. I really think displaying the distance between digitizing tips, truly, I think it's a must-have feature for those who need to know just how far they've gone since the last point they made while digitizing their object. Before this feature was added, you had to look at the very bottom left hand of the corner of your screen to see the distance. You don't have to do that any longer. You don't have to keep looking down at the right. It's right there on the screen. I think that is a very, very, very helpful tool. And again, General Options, select under the View tab. Okay? Look, let's talk about some of the enhancement features now in the software. Then I've got something to discuss with you that I think is a real exciting thing that DJ has been working on. I am so proud of this young man. DJ Anderson, when he came on board, he just so took to the way that I teach the process and into my theories of the process. DJ has run with it, but he is so incredibly articulate and technical, and I've got a real treat for you all in just a few minutes. But in the artwork enhancement tool, okay, DJ has given us some new shapes. We now have triangles, so you can create your triangles, you can stretch them out. You also now have in the artwork tool diamonds. So you got a couple new features, and again, once they're artwork, folks, you can select the artwork, you can right click, and you can convert it to what you want. Complex fill. You can select the next object, right click, and you can convert it to stitch types. Want to make it a satin stitch? It's a satin stitch. You know what? Right click, want to convert it to an applique stitch? It's an applique stitch design. Want to convert it to a run stitch? It's a run stitch design. You have absolute control. Again, I think that's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. You do have also the random split for satin stitches. That was an enhancement. You have simplified embossing lines, a wonderful enhancement. Look, this is a really neat one. When you bring up designs now, view, let's just zoom till it fits the window. Let me go ahead and put on all the colors. Originally, slow redraw. View, slow redraw, you get the slow redraw icon, okay? But now what you have, and I'll go ahead and just bring up another design. Let's go into the design library, bring something up. Right click, and let me just ungroup it. There's no more need to click under view and slow redraw. Right here you have a slow redraw icon. Click on it, up it comes, speed it to what you want. Slow redraw, again, no more drop down menu, a wonderful little slow redraw icon, okay? I think also that is a very, very wonderful feature, a new thing in the software. There's just so much. Now, what I really want to share with you, let me go ahead and speed this up, I'll just move this through the process. You also have 32 new motif patterns. Let me just show you one, okay? I'm just going to make a very simple running stitch. Again, I love those crosshairs. I'm going to come over and select it, certainly. So we do a select. Let me get back to the sequence view. It's a standard run stitch, but you know what? I can go under motifs. Now, I'm not going to show you all 32 new ones, but DJ worked hard on this. He did some very small lettering, and he applied it to it for the holidays. So you now have Happy Holidays. I can go ahead and click on that Happy Holidays if I want. When I click on the Happy Holidays, the only thing, and you'll see this in the listing of what you have, but you do have different sizes. So there are minimum sizes. I'm going to come in and tell it it's 45 and click apply. Now all along that line I have Happy Holidays. I didn't make a long running stitch line. You have Happy Thanksgiving. So you can come into those motifs, and right below Happy Holidays you have Happy Thanksgiving. You have to reset the sizing on it, apply it. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Okay, amazing. He's created 32 new motifs for you. Of course, you can create your own motifs, but I think that's pretty darn amazing. DJ just sat down one night and wanted to do a whole series of motifs. He went ahead and did it. They're all there for you to utilize. He created 8 new applique designs. I'll show you the new applique designs. Applique designs are certainly located right here. Well, as you scroll down now, baseball, basketball, cheer, dance. So if you want to make that baseball design an applique, click on it, boom, there's your applique baseball. Amazing, amazing. So you get 8 new applique designs. He also added into it, actually you get cheer, there's soccer, there's basketball, football, baseball, volleyball, dance, and softball. That's amazing, DJ. And new symbols. This is really, really a cool thing, because in your new symbols now, look, many of us working commercially, you come under symbols and select. We work with registered trademarks or registered designs. We work with trademark designs. You know what DJ's given us now? If you'll scroll down, you'll see that you now have, I might have passed it already, you now have a brand new register mark. Nope, I didn't yet. And you have a new trademark symbol in here. Got to come down just a little bit. There's your register mark. Set at 4 millimeters in height. That's very tiny. That's the normal size for it. The trademark, set at 3. Just come in, scale it where you want it. put your trademark in there, you're done. Okay? I think it's absolutely amazing. Look, another really nice feature, something that has bothered me when I'll do my text, I'll make some changes to the text. Here, let me go ahead and show you. So we'll come in, I'll do the text, type right on here, I'll just type my name, Walter, apply it, name Walter's done. Come over here and let's say I want to move the lettering out, okay? Well, let's say that I spelt my name wrong, okay? Just something's wrong in there. Well, now, you know what? When I go into edit, and let's say I want to change the size, well, traditionally when you selected it and you came in to make the size, it defaulted back. That spacing would disappear, okay? The fixes, the text tool will now hold all applied settings as additional changes to the properties are made, okay? So I come in here and I want to add a Walter, whatever, come in and apply it, okay? Oh, excuse me, no, it didn't hold on that one. So it jumped back to the default. I have to look at that, folks. This was the last part that went in there. It may have been because I added the A. Let's go ahead and check that again if I just want to change that back. Let me go ahead and pull that off. Let's apply it. Let's go back in there and shape it. Excuse me. Gotta do a select. Hit the text tool again, get to the next level. Come in, I want to space it out. I just move LTER. Well, if I come in now and I set a change of the size, so if I'm adding letters, I'm going to have them look at that. When you're changing size or changing any of the controls in here other than the text itself, it will hold the changes. We'll go ahead and take a look at that. That was the first time that I had added lettering to it. I've told you all before, I don't care. Sometimes when you fumble like that, that's a wonderful time to figure out where you need another fix-it. I'm glad that showed right now. Look, what I really want to get into, and I hope you've all enjoyed this, those are just some of the things that we've added. There's more than that. There truly is already more than that. But we went through it kind of quick. Where are you going to figure out how to do all that? Go into My Floriani today, okay? We're going to finish tonight with this. Look, in the Learning and Resource Center, this is brand new. Click on it, okay? When you click on it, it's going to open up the site, okay? For some reason, my computer brings that up. You'll click on What's New. When you click on What's New, it's going to show you the new update, version 6.15. Click on version 6.15, and up this page will come. As you scroll down, video tutorials for everything that we just basically covered. Your create outlines, your wave fill patterns. Click on it, okay? This is going to take you right to a link. And folks, you don't have to download it into the software now. I don't want to clog up your systems. There's going to be so many videos eventually, you're going to have no system. So now, you'll hear DJ's wonderful voice.
Feature that was added in this update is the opportunity to produce a wave fill pattern.
I don't know if you can all hear that, but it's absolutely amazing. There's full videos already online, okay? These were just all put in there. You've got everything that was updated. Now look, even more than that, there's some wonderful video learning. This new area of the My Floriani Today page, the Resource Center, I think it's absolutely amazing. Click on video learning, and it'll take you to this page. Come on, jump out of there. And here, these are all videos, okay? This was just added this month. Here's everything again that we just went over. But prior ones and all of the videos that DJ has been working on for this area are all located in that resource center. I think that is an amazing new aspect to the My Floriani Today page. Again, it covers so much. Once again, just go to My Floriani Today, Learning and Resource Center. There's more than that in there, folks. This is a wonderful place to browse around, and this is brand new. DJ has spent an enormous amount of time in it. It's our support center, a learning center, shapes and symbols, technical information, images and designs. You've got your video learning, past webinars, download, click on what's new, and all of them. Click on the plus sign. It opens it up. You got a lot more than that, okay? You've got videos in Ever. It talks about installation, registration, description of the tools, options, shortcut, importing images, vector art, creating stitches. Look, at a certain point, I thought we had done everything we could to bring you a wonderful education. This just took it 10 steps further. Again, I am so proud of DJ Anderson. I think it's truly time that he be applauded for all of his efforts. With that being said, we are down to our time. I would like to thank you all for joining me this evening. For tips and tricks. I hope you found it worthwhile. Again, I cannot tell you how excited we are. We have worked very hard at Floriani at maintaining our free update status. In fact, it's the most exciting aspect of software that's happened in this industry in decades, in my opinion. It's all that and it's more. Of all the updates we have ever released, I cannot think of one that comes close to the features that I've just shown you. I really do. And with the new enhancements, with DJ's gift of the new designs, the applique, the symbols, the fixes, and the new resource center, I just can't wait to see what comes next. I am so excited. There are so many people that contribute now to this process. My thanks to all of the Floriani educators. My thanks to all of you moderators. You folks are amazing. We have an amazing staff online now answering all your questions. I hope you realize there are 1,000 people online with us right now. I'm actually a little nervous. We've had some big groups, but we've got 1,000 people online, and I'm sorry for those of you who didn't make it. We had 1,400 people registered. We can only take 1,000 at a time. You'll notice in our quilting software coming out in February, we've had to now extend it to 4 webinars on the same topic. 8? We're up to 8. My God, I didn't get the email. We now have 8. That's 8,000 people that are going to be online to see that new software. Folks, webinars are our future in the educational process. I foresee the day where more and more advanced digitizing can be taught in this manner. I've never been so excited about a webinar in my life as the one that we've just done tonight. And with all the thanks given to all the staff and all the people behind the scenes, I get so many nice things said about me, but without the support staff, without people like Kathy, DJ, all our educators, the moderators, the support staff, Karen and Bob, we couldn't do what we do. But most of all, I'd like to thank all of you, the people who believe in us, who have purchased the software. I do believe that you made the right decision, and I will stand by the fact that I truly believe that Floriani software makes the novice a master and the master a magician. Thank you, folks. Good night. Hugs and stitches to you all. I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.